like when I sat next to Jake that day, I could hear people audibly go,
sitting next to each other silently in a public church.
Yeah.
And then people were like,
do you see a ring on her finger? What's happening?
Hey everyone, this is the Alt-Worldly channel. My name is Jake, and me and my wife just celebrated our 5-year anniversary this past weekend. When we got married 5 years ago, we got married in a Kingdom Hall. We were both Jehovah's Witnesses, but as you might know, if you've seen my channel before, there was a time when I left the religion and she was still an active member. And so the main question I get from listeners on this channel is, how did we make that work? So me and Kristyna sat down and had a long conversation about that. This is the first part of that conversation. It ended up being like 3 hours, so I'm going to chop it up. Specifically in this, we're going to talk about getting to know Kristyna and also what it was like to date as a Jehovah's Witness. Because if you are or have ever been a Jehovah's Witness, you know it's complicated dating and not always super fun.
My dad gave me some articles he printed out for me to read. So I did. And as I read the words and started meditating on them, I realized something. By holding off dating a little longer, I wasn't missing out.
You'll notice I didn't say whether or not she's PMO or PME. That is intentional. We're trying to avoid saying anything too concrete in case Watchtower happened to watch the video, so she could have some plausible deniability. Bo, are you PMO or PME? I don't know. And I guess you'll just have to watch the video and try and find out. My wife.
Yeah.
Kristyna.
That's me.
Hi, hello.
Hi, hello.
This is kind of what we do. We sit down on the couch at an awkward angle.
Yeah, very awkward.
No two people would ever sit at intentionally.
No.
We talk kind of past each other.
Yeah, we don't ever make eye contact.
Rarely, if ever.
Yeah.
Because when you make eye contact with me, I see you as a predator. And I bare my teeth and start throwing my feces.
Yeah, it's very awkward.
Yeah. I keep looking at the microphone as if it's a camera. It is not. So just if you ever want to make a dramatic thing, you say hit. Don't look down the barrel of the mic like I just did.
I should go like this.
Yeah.
And that's all, folks.
What of it?
Your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom. Hey, you might be watching this. You know, one of the things, I guess, with creating a channel is that people want to get to know you a little bit. I mean, mostly it's about the stuff I say, but I've also released a few videos about me.
What have you been saying about me?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting to is nothing. Because, you know, it's kind of like you can't get to know me without knowing the most important person in my life. So I kind of feel like there's this whole other side of myself that's just never been revealed on camera before, to anybody's knowledge.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
this is historical in nature, I guess.
It is. It's true. Mm-hmm. This is historical in nature. I just did it again. That's not where the camera is. Because I think our goal here is to talk about mixed faith marriage. So that's a phrase that I've picked up on from the ex-Mormon community. And I don't really know a more succinct way to say it, but as some people know, like at the very least for a time, we were not on the same page for a couple years, right? So that's probably the number one thing that I get asked about.
Yeah.
And it's something that is hard to talk about because you want to respect the privacy of your spouse if you're someone other than me. And that's why you're here.
That's true.
No.
I'm being forced.
Yes.
No, I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, you know, people want to know you.
Yeah.
Talk us through a little bit like your, you know, just entire life.
Okay.
You know,
buckle up, friends.
What's your history with the organization? We're obviously both Jehovah's Witnesses. Nope. Not the right way to say that. We were obviously both married in a Kingdom Hall as Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. And now...
And we were both raised as Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
As, you know, growing up as kids.
Yeah, you were raised as well. So we were both born in and both, like, are about the same age. We're, like,
9 months apart.
9 months apart. A full term, a full baby term. And that's another big reveal, is that we're related.
Yikes.
You were born and raised then,
yes,
as a witness. We both, the reason why I brought up our age is because we got married like late in life for witnesses, I think.
Yes,
by which
we
I
did.
mean our late 20s, which is early in life, I think, for most people to get married.
I mean, I feel like in like normal human society, like people don't get married until they're like 30 anymore.
Yeah.
Like people spend their 20s like figuring out who they are, you know, experimenting, going to college, like figuring out like what they want in life. But for witnesses, when you're in your late 20s getting married, you are getting married late in life.
Right, yeah.
Because most witnesses get married when they're like straight out of high school or early 20s.
Perhaps you are in your teens and you're starting to notice those of the opposite sex. Such emotions are natural and are part of growing up. But if you're not old enough to get married, what do you need to keep in mind?
I think both of us had a lot of friends who were married by the time they were like 19, 20, certainly by the age of like 23. I feel like most of my close friends had married off.
Oh, for sure.
And there was like a dwindling number of like dude friends who were single.
And usually they're weird.
Yeah, and they were weird. Not me. They were the weird ones. What are they going to do? Comment on the video? Born and raised, we're not from the same area. Take us through your experience being raised as a witness a little bit.
So, like you said, I was born and raised. I come from the West Coast. Mom was raised a witness. She was raised in what witnesses term a divided household.
Can you define that for any newbies?
So, a divided household, you know, you have a believing mate and an unbelieving mate, right?
Right, and believing in terms of being a Jehovah's Witness and not being a Jehovah's Witness.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my grandmother learned about the truth from two elderly witnesses who knocked on her door when she was home alone with 3 kids under the age of 2 and expecting 1. And typically she would, you know, hide from the witnesses, but this time she ended up opening the door to the witnesses. And that's how she was introduced and how being raised as a witness. So it was introduced or inherited from generation, right?
Gotcha.
So what would that be? I would be
you're probably 3rd generation because your great grandparents don't go back, but your grandparents do. Is that about right?
But my grandpa is not a believing witness.
Gotcha.
Like he's never gotten baptized. He's never been opposed.
Yeah.
But never gotten baptized as a witness. My parents met when my mom was in college because
immediately some red flags going off in my witness brain.
So my mom didn't get baptized until I was 5.
Okay.
So I mean, yes, technically I was born in, right? Like, but she never made that dedication that witnesses make.
Do you remember like her getting baptized when you were 5?
Yeah, I remember my parents getting baptized at a convention.
Wow, and they got baptized together, right? Yeah.
My dad was not a witness at all. He comes from a very like non-religious background.
Okay.
But they met in college. And then he ended up studying with one of my relatives, and I think it was like my uncle or something. Anyways,
but he had dabbled with Mormonism as well too, right? At some point.
Yeah, his stepfather, he wasn't Mormon, but felt like the Mormons had some sort of truth or had something right.
Something truthy about it.
Yes. So my dad actually would tell us about how he remembers going to like this big Mormon like assembly or whatever, and he was baptized for the dead because apparently that's that's something that Mormons do. Yeah, so he had a little bit of religious experience, but it wasn't like his mom was like an avid churchgoer or anything like that.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say that growing up, your mom was the like spiritual head of the household.
Yeah, because my dad, even though he got baptized, was always kind of like in and out of,
activity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not Activia, but
not Activia. He was consistent with that for day one. Yeah. Your family, your mom and your dad and your sister, I would say, unlike my family, which at least had the perception of being somewhat like an idyllic, everybody's in the organization, all the men are elders, that kind of perfect witness family. Your family was not like that so much.
Yeah, we were very non-traditional, I think, in the respects of what it was like to be a Jehovah's Witness family. Yeah. I mean, my mom would be considered a single parent spiritually.
Yeah.
And then as far as like headship arrangements go, like her and my dad worked together on making decisions all the time. I never remember my mom or my dad ever not coming to a decision together. There was never a time where my dad was like, well, I'm the head of the household, so what I say trumps what you feel like we need to do.
Yeah.
Like that whole misogynistic, like head of the household.
Yeah. Dynamic.
Yes, or model that I think witnesses tend to lean towards within their marriage. They would always discuss things, and they'd always work together. And when they would disagree, it was over like something major.
Yeah.
And eventually they would come to some sort of compromise, but they were always a team. It wasn't the headship arrangement that is indoctrinated in most witness marriages and families.
Yeah. So what was your experience like? I mean, as you're growing up in the organization, did you have a good experience? Would you say, like, do you like being a witness?
Yeah, I mean, I never had an issue. I think we all have moments where we feel like slighted by somebody or that things should have gone a certain way and they didn't.
Kind of like interpersonal, social stuff.
I feel like there were times where there were elders who felt like they were above the law. Not as far as like human law, but like above God's law. Like, the power and authority that they've been given, went to their head. So I've witnessed what that looks like. Also, I've met and gotten close to a lot of elders who became like my best friend, or like my grandfather, or my like a father figure or something like that. Like
spiritual thing.
So I've never really had like a terrible experience within the organization that would make me feel untrusting. So overall, I mean, I've always remembered like all of the laughs, all of the good times, all of the friendships that I've made. Like I only remember like the love, right?
Yeah. Good. Until you met this asshole, no reason to your like foundation in the organization had not really been like shaken at any point.
No,
some fundamental degree.
My mom always said to my sister and I, we serve Jehovah for Jehovah.
Yeah.
Not for man. So that was always kind of like the mantra that I would tell myself, or that would repeat in my head. So like if I saw something that was concerning or was questionable, I would tell myself, well, we serve Jehovah for Jehovah.
Yeah. And I think that's actually important context for like what we're going to talk about, which is how we had to learn to communicate, because I think what I didn't realize or didn't appreciate and didn't properly contextualize when I was communicating with you was like, you had a very different upbringing than I did, and that gave you a completely different perspective on the religion that I did. So we were kind of, in some ways, I think, talking past each other sometimes because of that.
I think that's true.
Yeah. Well, smash cut to me. Oh, shit. Not to spill all of the tea, but we did know each other before we started dating.
Yes, we did.
I dated your best friend.
Yes, you did. The first time I met you was on your first date with my best friend.
Yeah. But the right person was still across the seat from me at the table.
It's true.
I was just making eye contact with the wrong person. we kind of had one of those things where we knew each other for a little bit and then lost contact when my relationship with your friend didn't work out, and then we didn't see each other for several years.
Well, and I didn't really like you at the time either.
That's the thing I was going to move past almost and not even say.
No, we need to talk about this.
If it's possible for my viewers to believe such a thing, there was a time in my life I was kind of a smug, arrogant son of a bitch.
Yeah, you were kind of a dick.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just remember.
I think you make it sound worse than it was.
No. I remember multiple times because I was always with my friend when you guys were dating. So as witnesses, you have a chaperone.
Yes.
Whether it's the right kind of chaperone or not, who's to say?
Who's to say?
The heart, or inner person, is treacherous. It can lead a person to do things that he knows are wrong. To prevent their hearts from misleading them, couples who are dating can avoid being alone in tempting situations. They may choose to take such reasonable precautions as staying in the company of a wholesome group or a suitable chaperone.
But it's another person.
Yes.
That's all that matters at that point, right?
Right.
So I was always there. And I just always remember thinking like, God, Jake doesn't know when to stop talking. Because it was like, you always had an opinion about music and about movies. And like, and it wasn't just like an opinion. It was like, it was like, no, but you're wrong and I'm right. And so whenever you would talk, I'd be like, I don't know if I mean, more power to you, friend. But no, absolutely
not for me.
But then also when I would have been like, what, 21, 22 when we first met?
Yeah.
So I was very intimidated by a lot of things still because I didn't really know who I was. I just started.
And it's possible like you just didn't realize how great my personality was. I'm totally kidding.
And these are things that audience out there, I look past on a daily basis because I love Jake.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that is super true. I mean, you know my dad.
I do know your father.
Do you know this man? I have a big.
He's right there.
I have like a trifold poster board with the family tree.
Yikes.
I get it honest.
It's true. You do. And I'm not saying that like I don't think you knowingly knew how you came across.
No, as it turns out, a lot of guys in their like late teens and early 20s, not necessarily the most mature guys.
And not really great guys either. Just
not
good.
Not good. Fundamentally bad and ontologically evil.
Yeah. Literally the devil.
Yeah. I was the devil at the time. No, that's absolutely true. And I think that's important too, because, you know, that's something I was completely unaware of at the time, how I came across.
Yeah.
I think until somebody, I don't know if somebody pointed it out to me or I just started, I don't know if I just kind of mellowed out a little bit as I started.
It's probably true
getting older. The bloom of youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hormones weren't like constantly fueling
that was my bloom.
Your arrogance.
Yeah, okay. You say it like that, you know, you can make anything sound bad. And, you know, we don't even have to talk about how you came across. You know?
Please tell the viewers how I
No.
came across.
Well, I just didn't know you. You were
I was very quiet.
Quiet and standoffish, and
yeah,
you made your feelings about me known to me.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
How?
You were very, you know your face, right? You've seen it before. And how you react to everything all the time. Like, you can't hide your reaction to anything. Like, I could tell that I was annoying to you. And I gotta say, I definitely ramped it up to just kind of tease you a little bit, just because I kind of got a kick out of it.
And people.
And
he wonders why I didn't like him at the time.
At the time. God damn it. No, but anyway, so like we lost contact for several years, probably 5 years or so. And then you happened to move into the congregation where I was.
Yeah, so I do have to say, when I moved into your congregation, I moved from the Russian congregation. I was in Russian for about 4 years.
Regular pioneer.
Mm-hmm. I would have to say that decision to move from Russian to English was one of the low spots in my spiritual journey as a witness.
Yeah.
I was going through a really tough time. I had moved out of my parents' house. I was living on my own, trying to figure out what I wanted, things of that nature. Like, a lot of challenges spiritually. Let's just use all of the witness terminology.
Sure. Big blanket statements. I mean almost nothing.
I encountered this really cute guy at work, and he really liked me. And I didn't know Jake at the time.
Oh, no, you did.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, you knew that I existed. You knew me as that arrogant guy who dated your friend.
Yeah, but I hadn't moved into English at
and at no point, you talking to this cute guy, you're thinking, maybe that arrogant guy that I hated is nice now.
Definitely not. You're not even a blip on my radar at this point.
Wow. Well, all right. No.
So that was a struggle, because I knew he liked me. We actually went on a date, and we really hit it off. And just other interpersonal struggles of I was working full time in order to make to pay my rent. And the elders actually pulled me aside, and they were like, I don't think that it's a good idea for you to keep regular pioneering.
Fun.
And
fun conversation.
Yeah, super awesome. And they also at one point had a shepherding call with me, because there was a picture on Instagram about with me at a bar with one of the girls that I worked with at the time.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was hanging out with girls at work, and I went on this date with this guy.
Can we step back and appreciate the fact that you had a spiritual intervention from the elders because they saw a picture of you having a drink with a coworker?
Mm-hmm.
And this was everything needed to stop there and then.
Uh-huh.
An intervention is needed. This person had fun after work with someone they work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they told me that I was getting my privileges essentially taken away.
Yeah.
I just had this moment of what do I need to do? What obviously I need to reconnect with who I am as a spiritual person.
Yeah. Find the love you had at first.
That's what they tell you to do.
True.
So I went back to English, and I talked to one of the elders, and I said, I don't want to just go back to English and put myself on autopilot. I want to go to an English congregation that needs help. And the elder told me about an English congregation that I was actually at the time was in the territory of that needed help. So I went and visited, and is that when we met?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if it was my first meeting or my second meeting.
I think it was your first meeting there.
So
Or maybe the first one I wasn't there.
that could have been.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been my second meeting because I don't remember seeing you my first meeting.
Yeah.
So I connected with a couple of sisters my first meeting, and I told them, like, I think I'm gonna move to this hall. Like, it feels like a good fit, things like that. I need to, I'm coming from Russian. I just need to go back to English. And then my second meeting,
Yeah.
I ran into this guy.
This guy.
After
and
5 years or 6 years of not seeing each other.
yeah,
And I was like, whoa, man.
and we looked over and I was like,
Yeah.
Kristyna.
And I was like, Jake?
Hot now?
You weren't before? And I was like, rude.
No, I always thought you were cute.
I always thought you were cute too.
What? Even though you thought I was annoying?
Somebody can be cute and you don't like their personality. Like right now, you're cute. And I don't like your personality.
Yeah, but that was like our meet cute.
Yeah,
and
for real.
Legitimately, like I had dated somebody in the same hall, like in my home congregation, right?
Mhm.
And I had moved to this hall to kind of get away from that
Mhm.
situation. And I had done so probably a year or almost a year earlier. So I had been in that congregation. I want to say the name of the congregation. I've been in that congregation for quite a while. I've been in that congregation for a while.
Mhm.
I did not move there, to find a mate. It was actually to get away from the person I had tried to mate with. That's the right way to say that, right?
What are we, like weird animals in the wilderness?
We're all just weird animals, man.
Saying that like we're part of some science textbook. Like, I was running away from the person I was trying to mate with.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And I remember we had a very fun, cutesy, flirty conversation.
Yeah.
It was very clear that we were like, oh, hello.
Yes. In fact, like, I remember shaking your hand and, like, nobody else in the room mattered anymore.
Immediately evaporated.
Yeah.
You melted. And I broke your hand because I have a very strong handshake.
Yes. And I was
Yeah.
like, God damn. No, but it was like the snap happened from
Yeah.
Endgame.
They all turned to dust. And what a happier ending to everything that would have been if that was true. But no, there's more. But
no, I remember one of the sisters I was talking to, which her and her husband ended up getting really close to us.
oh yeah.
She ended up like just kind of backing out of the picture.
Yeah.
Because you and I were just like here.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, like, she's like, I knew from that point that you and Jake were going to get married.
I know. And I walked away from that conversation thinking, like, I can see myself marrying that person. I was like, no, what are you doing? Don't think that way. You don't date people in the same hall. That's your one rule. And you know what?
You broke it.
God, it's like you're a Joker and I'm Batman. You got me to break my one rule.
I've always said I was like Joker.
So yeah, we did eventually, after a period of some months, start dating, but we were obviously into each other and stuff. And it was one of those things where everybody in the hall could tell that we liked each other. And there was, I think, immediately eyes on you
100%.
because you were a single sister moving in.
Oh.
And that means that, like, what does this mean for our single brothers?
And there was only
I guess
three.
It was just me.
There's three. You.
They do not count. And I have to believe their names, but
dang it, I'm so
just
sorry.
know that they didn't even deserve it. So I looked in the wrong place.
No, but it's true. Like, legitimately, you were the only single brother. And
Well, that's not true, but they had an issue where a lot of the guys in the congregation just weren't, like, didn't qualify for privilege.
Yeah.
So I think there were single brothers there, but they
Mhm.
were all, like, people that witnesses would look down upon for not being, like, exemplary.
yeah, and as a sister who, I regular pioneered for like 8 years at that point and just recently stopped, like, my standards at that point were like
Yeah.
Not to sound like I sound like conceited when I say this.
It's literally what you're told to do.
Yeah. But like my standards were like I should date somebody who is serving the congregation because they're serving the congregation in a capacity that shows that they are, I don't know how to say it, but they're serving the congregation with focus to serving Jehovah, right?
Yeah.
And with you were serving the congregation on your own. It wasn't because your parents were there. It wasn't because, but you were serving the congregation. Yeah,
that's true. I kind of consciously wanted to get away from congregations where my family was there, which I had a lot of family in the area. So, and I, because they didn't have a lot of qualified people there, I was used a lot. So I was pretty focused on that at the time, which even gave the semblance of maturity. I don't know how true that actually was, but like that part of my life, like I took that very seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know what? Like you said that though, and I think you actually touched on something that's kind of interesting, which is that you learn to be attracted to that quality in a person because you're kind of told your entire life that's what you're supposed to be attracted to. And so one of the issues that people face when one partner leaves and another partner does not, at least not at the same time immediately, they're different places in the process, is like you lose that perhaps the fundamental thing that you were attracted to and viewed as being like important. Safe. That will never change. At least that we've got figured out.
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely never occurred to me that either one of us could ever leave the organization for any reason.
I mean, yeah, same.
Yeah. That never crossed.
I definitely thought like, I remember us having a conversation. I think it was the night that you called me and asked me out about like what our goals were.
Yeah.
And you said that you wanted to be an elder. And I was like, that's great. Like,
yeah,
I have my goals. Your goals would help me reach my goals, things like that. So I never would have thought that something like that would happen.
No way. And yet, like and subscribe. Let's talk about headship.
Okay.
This is the concept that is common in Christianity, especially evangelical Christianity, which is that the man is the head of the household. And that is sort of a divine position. It's not something that I feel like either of us took seriously.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Like in the sense that I never remember an instance where you were like, well, that's not a decision I can make. You're the spiritual head or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it would probably be something that we would have joked. Actually, you know what we did? Because I remember we studied.
Yes.
We tried to, the Family Happiness book.
From what, the 1950s?
It feels like it, but it's like from the late 90s.
Yes, you're right.
But it is like, in today's busy society, women sometimes have to enter the workforce, putting down their vacuum cleaners and picking up a typewriter before putting it right back down on the table. Don't pick up your typewriter. It was like shit like that for real. Yeah. So we just started laughing, and then I think we legitimately just made out instead of
100%. We ended up making out.
That was
to the point where your mom came in to your dad's study and was like, "It's too quiet."
Not hearing a lot of commenting and reading of the paragraph.
Yeah.
So bad. Not as bad as we could have been, though.
That's true.
Troublingly, in hindsight,
we should have just been.
Went for it, bro. That was our shot.
We threw it away.
Do not throw away your shot.
Oh, I chucked that thing away.
Chuck it. Chuck your shot, bro. That'd make a t-shirt. Chuck your shot, bro.
Man, all these great ideas. Why aren't we entrepreneurs?
As soon as we bring in entrepreneurs, look at these glossy depictions of a higher standard of living.
Fancy living, here we come.
Before we get into the issues, this is a Mormon story style, which means this is going to be long as hell because we're just sitting here on a Saturday chilling.
100%.
Under hot lights, and I want to take my shirt off. What I want, everybody.
Please.
You can already almost see my bag.
Keep your tits in.
No, I'm taking them out. We should talk about dating.
Yeah.
Dating was terrible.
Yes.
We loved each other and hated dating within the confines.
It's only because I love you that we dated. If I didn't love you, I would have been like, nope. Yeah. I'm down out of this. I can't do it.
It's annoying as shit. I mean, I guess I just don't know. So to explain it, you mentioned earlier that you have to have a chaperone. So anytime you're dating within the witnesses, first of all, you have to date with a view to marriage.
100%. Yep.
And that's really tough because, you're not supposed to date until you could get married. So most witnesses don't date until they're like 18. Mm-hmm. And then they get married at 19. Because...
But here's my question. Are you able to get married? Like, are you able to support each other financially and stuff when you're 19?
It's also like, you can't know if you want to marry somebody until you date them.
Can you imagine if we got married when we initially met each other?
Oh, well, I was thinking about that earlier.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, what if I had gotten married to your friend? Like, we would have gotten divorced. Like, it would have been horrible.
I mean, I was thinking about, like, if you and I got married when we first met each other.
Oh, I just assumed because you were so disgusted by me that you would never
that's what I'm saying.
it. Can you imagine if I married this guy I hated named Jake?
I didn't hate you.
No, I know.
That's such a harsh word.
Yeah.
Okay.
But true.
No. Get over yourself.
Damn it. No, I will not. So, like, you can't know if you want to get married until you date. But once you start dating, there's so much intense pressure for you to get married because everybody thinks, well, they're dating. So they're going to get married.
Right. Us just sitting next to each other at the Kingdom Hall
was
like the biggest decision early on in our relationship.
Build up to that because it was treated.
So sorry.
No. It's so stupid because it was treated like, did we miss an announcement?
I legitimately had a sister come up to me after the first meeting that we sat together, and she was like, "Wait, when did you guys get engaged?"
Yeah,
and I was
multiple people.
I was like, we didn't," and she was like, "Oh, I mean, I just assumed because you guys are sitting next to each other."
She whipped out a humongous fan, and immediately two brothers with a fainting chair appeared behind her. Yeah.
I was literally like, "No, we're dating and we want to sit next to each other." Like,
yeah,
is that not okay?
And the answer was,
it's not.
Iffy. Yeah, people have different opinions.
Yeah,
it is like. Obviously, there's nothing in the rules about not sitting next to the person you're dating, but yeah, it was treated as like a really intense decision.
Like when I sat next to Jake that day, I could hear people audibly go,
sitting next to each other silently in a public church.
Yeah.
And then people were like, fucking
do you see a ring on her finger? What's happening?
It was the fucking Force Awakens cantina scene where like Han Solo walks in and the record scratches and like everybody turns around and they went, Kristyna Claw!
And then everybody went on with their life.
And you went, hey Jake! Yeah. Yes, but that's what it was like. From minute one, people were pressuring us to start dating, insinuating that we were dating when we weren't, and then when we started dating, asking when we're going to get married, but also telling us not to take things too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And
in fact,
yeah.
Can I tell this story?
Yeah, please. I'll bet you we're going in the same direction. Yeah.
Okay.
She whispered it as if I couldn't cut it out of the video.
didn't want to give you more editing.
No. This
Um,
makes it better.
So, in regards to people telling us don't take it too fast, you guys just started dating, there was an older sister in our congregation that I think wanted to marry Jake.
Yes, I think you are right.
I legitimately feel like she had more than just like
grandmotherly feelings
yes,
towards me. Yeah.
She admired him more than just like, "Aw, you're so great, Jake." She really wanted to be like, "Aw, you're so great."
I mean, what can I say? The problem is that's so good that it has to be in the video. That's so good. I did not see that coming. Yeah, no, I did. I like rejected that at the time, but she was so protective that it was weird. And
it was so
not that tight.
No,
no, was she.
She would always say, "You look like Tom Cruise."
She would. Famous, a thing that nobody has ever said. I get comments fucking every week from people telling me I look like Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Exclusively and only. That is the only comparison I ever get.
Or Chris Hayes.
No, that's just your mom.
Oh. Okay,
your mom thinks I look like.
Oh, that's great. She says it because my dad used to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
But it also made me self-conscious because they only started saying it once I gained a bunch of weight after we got married. And I was like, he has a fat head. And now I have a fat head.
Oh, shut up.
So
Anyways, so she was always, I remember we went to lunch after a Sunday meeting, I think.
Yes.
Was it to take the speaker out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like a big group.
That's right.
Full of hands, you know.
Such a great place to take a
great
speaker.
Place. Oh my God. Luxurious.
Did we get engaged then?
We were not yet engaged.
We were talking about it though.
I had already bought the ring, and I was like, I had like the day on my calendar I was going to do it. So like,
okay.
It was like going to be within the month or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, so she's sitting next to us because why wouldn't she?
Yeah, she's sitting right where the camera is and not the microphone.
And she's sitting next to me.
Right. Yes. Great seating.
Oh, so she's sitting next to me and she's talking specifically to Jake and I and telling us how it would be a bad idea if we got married too soon because we had just started dating.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we had definitely already established that we were going to get married, and I had bought a ring. And I might have even told you that I bought it because you...
Oh.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Or at least I had some, like, idea that it was going to happen soon. So we both looked at each other and we were like...
well, that'll be a fun conversation very soon. And you know what? It wasn't. Because that same person, we were out in service. This is the thing I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah. No, I was getting there.
Oh, you were getting there? Okay, I won't...
Yeah. I just wanted to
I won't chuck away your shop, bro.
I just didn't... I wanted to give some backstory on
the backstory is an old lady thought I was hot.
And she hated me.
Allegedly.
The end. Yeah.
But you know, that's how I felt as a young man. Being judged by a young Kristyna Clark.
Wow. I can't believe you're comparing me to her. Rude. Rude! We had gotten engaged by this point.
By this point, we're engaged.
Because
a few weeks later, after she tells us not to get engaged,
because it was like winter, right? And we're planning the wedding. And we're out in service with our service overseer and his wife.
Yes.
And
Elder and his wife.
Yep. And we're close to them. He ended up being our
yeah, he was kind of our MC at the wedding.
What's that? Right?
Like he was the master of ceremonies.
Oh!
Hammer. Like master of ceremonies, Hammer. Master of ceremonies, Escher.
Yeah, yep. So like, I mean, they were very close to us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they're in the group with us, and the sister again sitting next to me.
Yeah. So we're like this, literally. We're like this. And she is on
the other side. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Jake is sitting here, and the sister is sitting.
This will be good because we can reenact this. And it's like, we're in the backseat of a car. So we're like this,
Yes.
scooched up together. And we're just like, at some point I go like, oh, I just love you so much.
And we had this thing where we would go like, hey, by the way, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you more. Like we would whisper like sweet little like I love yous to each other.
Not nothings, by the way, because it's not nothing to tell somebody that you love them. We would never whisper sweet nothings into each other's ear. I just want to get this fucking nonsense out in the air right now. We whispered sweet somethings. No, this is good. This is good what I'm saying. What are you mad at?
I'm not. I wanted you to react. So, Jake and I are being smitten with each other. We're not doing anything wrong. We're best friends and we're in love. Like we're like weeks away from getting married.
Yeah.
Like, and the sister says to me,
yes,
that like whispering is rude.
This is not appropriate. This is rude.
And if I have something that I want to say, that I should say it out loud.
Yeah, like insinuating that we're like talking about something inappropriate while we're, trying to preach the good news of Jesus Christ or whatever the fuck do we do?
And I sat there and I was like,
oh yeah, because
what is happening?
Yeah, because you kind of shut down when you feel attacked.
Yes.
But it's what it's like is in The Dark Knight when the Batmobile, like it's like really damaged and it's just kind of like whirring around and you think, oh, it's like gonna fucking explode or something. And then like a motorcycle shoots out of it.
Yeah.
You're like that, where you're like, but I know that there's like a cartoon temperature gauge rising up your head and smoke is about to come out your ears.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I had to run point and like diffuse the situation of this. She started like really getting loud.
Yeah.
It made everybody in the car very uncomfortable.
She was counseling me.
Yes.
She was not counseling us.
No, not me.
She was counseling me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
We literally just said that we like love each other.
And I was sitting there as she's counseling me and I'm like on the verge of tears, not because I am like sad or I feel like ashamed. I'm on the verge of tears because I'm freaking mad at this sister. Like,
yeah,
I'm sitting here going like, you're not my mom.
Yeah,
you're not my grandma. Like you have no part of this. Why are you making yourself a part of this?
Yeah.
So Jake, what did you say?
So the elder's wife took you to the next door, like on a return visit. I'm sitting in the car with.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! I'm sitting in the car with anonymous elder A, MC, and I told her like that was not appropriate. That is not the way to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an issue, you can talk to me. I don't know why you singled her out, but we were both whispering.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see how this is any of your business. And anyway, like, and the elder, he backed me up. He's like, yeah, me and my wife, we would whisper. He's like, he made the awkward joke of like, I don't even want to know what they're saying. And I'm like, we're not talking about sex all the time. Out in service.
We're just thinking about it.
Yeah. We wait till literally the second we get in our cars. Anyway, but that's what it was like. It was always, if we were with the congregation, there was intense judgment.
Yeah, all the time.
Or there was just the logistical nightmare of having to have somebody with us to, just to hang out. So
we at like towards the end, we just ended up like going to public places.
Yeah, which you're not supposed to do technically. And we would hang out.
I mean, after Sunday meeting, we would go to a Mexican restaurant. Right?
Sometimes I'd remember to bring a chaperone. Sometimes I wouldn't.
Well, because it was like pulling teeth to get anybody to come with us.
Yes, because nobody wants to be an intentional third wheel. Right. While two awkward, socially isolated, horny people are interacting for the first time, like fucking two apes put in a zoo to mate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody wants to be that person.
Yeah.
Many practices commonly associated with dating are actually serious sins. For example, the Bible commands us to avoid sexual immorality. This includes not only intercourse, but also other unclean acts between unmarried people, such as fondling the genitals of another person or engaging in oral or anal sex. Even premarital passion-arousing behavior that stops short of sexual immorality is uncleanness that displeases God. Immoral conversations consisting of obscene talk are also condemned in the Bible.
So that's what dating was like. And so I think marriage was a relief.
Oh, yeah.
There was some tension with our families, I think, different personalities and stuff with planning the wedding, but we don't have to get into all that. I mean, I think we were just happy to get it over with, to the point where we left our own wedding pretty early.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the dancing had been underway for like 45 minutes.
I wanted to keep dancing, and Jake was like, come on.
No, you did not. You were telling me you got to help me get out of here.
We have obviously very different
Wow.
recollections.
Who are you going to trust? The person who can't even say the word reconciliations, or I can see. We're approaching our 5-year anniversary, and we have not had a particularly lucky year of our lives since we started dating.
Yeah.
But we, like, the wedding went great, you know, about perfect witness wedding that you can have. It was really nice.
Everybody would tell us that it was like one of the best weddings that they had gone to in a while.
And just two people who obviously deserve to be together, and they're so spiritual, and you just know that nothing weird's ever going to happen with their relationship to the organization, and we'll always feel good about being at this wedding. That's what people said.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a foreboding way.
Yeah.
As we alluded to earlier, like, we did start the ritual of, like, we'll do family worship together while we're dating to start that. And we really did. We would, you know, but we would, I mean, like, in our way, like, before Sunday meetings, when we had afternoon meetings, we would get together, just you and me, at Starbucks by ourselves with no chaperone, and we would study our Watchtower together. Yeah. And it was chill. So that was like a little bit of rule bending, but it was like, it was a place with studying the Watchtower. What's someone going to do?
Well, and we're going to meeting after this.
Yeah, we're going straight to meeting.
And we're super preemie at that point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, headship.
You're super preemie at that point.
Yeah. We both were, and I was, and you are me, and we are all together. Headship.
Yeah.
So this is the traditional, the man is the head of the woman thing. What I feel is that I think because we were both raised, I don't know, the slightly more like progressive mindset, your mom was more of the spiritual head of your family. Yeah,
because she would take us to meetings and get us ready for service and things like that.
She was the one who would probably take the lead in family study.
We actually didn't have family worship.
Wow. Well, now I understand why you're where you are today.
Says the person who had family worship all the time with his family. And now look at where he's at.
I got a secret for you, folks. Do it every week. Do it 0 weeks. This shit can still happen. I feel like it's not something that we consciously took seriously. But what were your expectations for that going into marriage? You as a woman in the organization.
As far as like headship? Or
yeah.
I guess I didn't really have any expectations for headship necessarily. My hope was that we could work together as a team because that's how my parents did it. So that was the example that was set before me. So that's what I wanted. Like, when I would think of getting married, I would think of marrying somebody that was my teammate.
Yeah.
Not somebody that was supposed to be, you know, the spiritual head or take the lead spiritually. I mean, I loved when you would go to different congregations and give talks. That was always really fun.
Right. And that happened when we were dating too. Yeah.
So like, as far as that, I enjoyed that. There was some expectation of like being a part of that.
True. Yes.
But I didn't really have expectations for like what, or I didn't have like an ideal.
Yeah. Okay.
For what headship should look like.
Right.
For us.
Okay.
I figured we would figure that out as we went.
Yeah. And I obviously had like my dad in mind, and that's just not something that comes up a lot in our life, is me trying to be my dad or feeling like I'm disappointing my dad. That's just not something I have to deal with emotionally. So I'm being silly, but
No, I understand. So sorry, my reaction was very delayed.
it was so sincere. I was like, no, I'm joking. I know that is a problem. I want you to know that I'm not insane, like all these people are saying. My enemies are out to get me. They're trying to destroy me. All right. This is just a normal way that couples talk. It's just like,
yeah, this is what we do every night.
Madam, where's the roast beast?
I don't know what you're talking about. What roast of the beast?
You wouldn't know, would you, you woman with a smaller brain? I shall go out now to the cornfields.
Are you going to hunt for the roast of the beast?
Yes, I shall go to the cornfields with my shotgun and shoot ears of corn right off the stalks.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you. I look forward to our divorce.
Me as well.
Because I think our goal here is to talk about mixed faith marriage. That's kind of how it ends up. Like that's how it's been termed to me.
Yeah.
With like the ex-Mormon community.
Definitely.
They have there's an ex-Mormon podcast called Marriage Without a Typewriter? No. Right. I was wrong to say that, correct?
Yeah, you're correct in that you're wrong.
Marriage Without a Tightrope.
I thought it was Marriage on a Tightrope.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because if there's no tightrope, then you're just kind of doing what we're doing. Like right now, Marriage Without a Tightrope. But with a couch.
Yep.
Should that be our podcast?
Yeah, that.
I do think that everybody should get an alert when someone's talking shit.
Like your ears are burning. Instead,
Yeah.
it's a text message to
Ear
your
burn.
phone.
That's the name of the app. Stop the video. We have to develop an app. It doesn't really look like that on camera. Like, look. See? Like, it looks kind of normal. Are you glancing at yourself in the preview screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because I think I slept with my blanket over my head during my nap.
Yeah. And I haven't taken a shower today. So people are seeing my greasy ass face, even though I put on foundation too. Even though I put on foundation.
Oh, you look great.